It's trying where? Is it loading? I'm experimenting. I don't know if this is gonna work. Ah, now it's going. It only took forever. Now, I don't think I can get a link to it from here, can I? That's the one downside of being on YouTube. You can't just link to it. Copy the URL. What's going on here? Let's do the super bold. Working on Laye until I'm too hungry to continue. Boom. Ayo. Then let's keep this open so we can make sure everything's working over here. I'm just gonna do that once and this 3 times. That should be enough for most people. Okie dokie. So I have one bug left. Yeah, we'll see. I might only go for like 30 minutes to an hour. I'm starting to get hungry, but I just really want to finish this before I get distracted. If I get distracted doing this, then we'll go for a while. Hello. I need to remember exactly what I was doing. So the problem I'm trying to fix is I think the liar context is not getting struct types populated. I think during the refactor, yeah, during the refactor, I knew this was going to need to get done, and then I just never did it. So I need to go update places that generate structs in Laye to also do it in liar property. So we should have a Laye context, and it should have its own set of structs, cached structs here. So if we go see what's going on here, I think this is actually happening, right? So context, maybe it's not. Because here we're iterating, here we're iterating, here we're iterating. There's the push. Okay, so in here, when we're generating IR for structs, here's the cached struct type. And a type is a liar type. So what I need to do, I think, is whenever I generate a liar struct type, right, we've got it in here. We need to then say LCADA append or push into context all struct types, the struct type. And that should be actually the bulk of the work done already to fix this bug. But let's find out. Still fails on struct. Cannot allocate unsized type. Okay. Why is my fan going so hard? Let me make sure Steam's not doing anything. I guess it's entirely possible that this didn't rebuild, but I think it did. Is the test runner not... I don't think the test runner is updating the tests. It is. Okay. So now we're getting a leak. But it looks like it's working otherwise. So struct has failed in these tests now because it's generating output that it shouldn't be from the leak sanitizer. So in the IR gen, really? Okay. Are we not getting... We're not getting convert type. Okay, so hold on. Let me just go to liar. Do I have a C? Context.c in liar lib? This one? I don't think we are freeing the struct array. So in context destroy, For all types, we are doing this, which is fine. So now we just need to also do all struct type. If I do nod, make sure it builds the nod test. Okay, so now we're only leaking one other thing, which is happening who knows where. I have no idea. Are we building nod in debug? That might be it. I think I introduced a debug flag. Project info probably has a debug. Name, description, whatever, includes sources. Okay, I guess not. So when we're doing debug, so here it's doing debug symbols. Interesting, interesting. Well, now I don't know what's leaking. Because this should handle that case already in just this function here. So hold on. In IR, when I say type create is pushing it to all types, which is good. And then specifically, we're also just storing the struct type itself, because we need to do that. But it's not copying it or anything. It's already in the type thing. So it's getting freed by type. We're just adding it to context all types into context all struct types, which is fine. And then, so this is, it's not pointing me to IRGen anymore. 528 bytes. One object allocated from somewhere that's calling the default allocator function. Why can I knob? I don't think I can knob run yet. Can I? Can I knob run? Build and test. I can only build and test. So if we're going to out Laye, that should be what it's called. Yeah. Then we want let me just go copy it from struct, because yeah, we want S. I haven't done manual work on the command line in so long. So then what we want is test Laye struct. And it's still going to give me the exact same thing that it did before. So why am I not getting extra information from the sanitizer? If I rebuild everything, we're seeing GDB, I believe. Yeah, GDB on all of the builds. There it is. Okay, so yeah, some of them just weren't built with debug symbols, I guess. So it's happening in vert type. And it's a dynamic array. So IRGen 462. 462. That's IR, not IRGen. 462. So I'm not doing it in the Laye context either. So Laye context seed. Destroy. I think all I have to do then is struct types. And then just to make sure we have everything going correctly, do this. Then this, then not tests. We should have 100% test passing again. Beautiful, we did it. And then I guess another thing we can do to test is build the Tsoding example to make sure I can still link with it. Does Tsoding contain? No, it doesn't. That would be... So I need to out Laye o ball lraylib, then just examples raylib floating ball. Cannot index type color, cannot find module, raylib. Okay, so I need to point it to raylib as well, which is not part of the standard library. So it's going to be here. Which is, I think, include directory, or the include directory. I think I just do this. We want I good Laye raylib. Does that do what I want? Type is integer failed. Uh-oh, there are bugs. Driver, did I call it? Compiler.c, that would probably do it. So that is correct this way. And it's giving me IRGen 1517. Type as integer is not thing. So IRGen token greater in floating ball. Yep. So the only two places it looks like are these two. So they're not integers, they're floats. But get screen width is an int. So there's still a problem with converting from float, or converting it into a float for some reason. And it's not hitting the float case. So back in IRGen, it's checking our floats, and our floats is going to say, hey, are both of them floats, correct? Type is float, type is float. Okay, so Sema, does all of this code already compile? All of which code? So back to this. Is because it's right in here, so there's something wrong there. That's not good. Let's just kill everything. Sema.c Laye. I don't know why it thinks it's not there, because it's right here. That's perfect. Okay, so we need convert. Something in here is wrong. Actually, while I'm here, let me check regular ask greater first. So when we're checking for greater, I need to not implicitly dereference things all the time. I know that. So if they're both numeric, we want to convert to common type, which is not erroring. It's not erroring. It's going to return bool, implicit dereference, L value to R value. LHS and RHS type, they're the right thing. The nodes do exist. So convert to common type is, so we're looking for, want B to A is going to be int to float. We want to make sure that int to float actually returns something valid. And we want float to int to return a negative number. And it should return true in one of these cases. So anyway, back to try convert. Try convert is going to go to convert impl. We want int to float int float, references after performing conversions. Equals is whatever. If it's pointer to reference, pointer to pointer, if it's evaluatable to a constant, if it's an int to an int, that returns whatever's going on here unless it's impossible. If it's an int to a float, it just returns 1 plus score, which is good. If it's a float to a float, it returns the same cases. We have a second case here for int to float. I don't think this second case is actually necessary. I think the first case is just fine. We should always allow converting an integer to a float because the floats are approximate. And if that's the case, this second copy is useless. I hate that. I wish I just do block comments on that. That would be so nice. It wouldn't know how to uncomment it. So this code should never have been run in the first place. So that's not the bug. So if I do knob and just, try again. Yeah, doesn't do anything. So maybe I need a simpler example, simpler test. Let's test. I don't think I have any. So let's say new numeric conversions Laye, which is going to need a couple of things. We'll just have it return 0 for now. What's the way I'm doing this? I'm doing int. All right. So numeric conversions. I want i32a equals 10, and I want f32b is 20. And then I want to say if a is less than b, return 0. Then let me actually say int to float. I can return int to float. So this is int to float in the left-hand direction. So I could do and b is greater than a. This would perform the conversion and return the same result both times. Ooh, look, parsing bug. I think what I really care about is this is the case that we're testing for now in this, not this, I closed it, sorting ball example. We're doing float is greater than int. And it's an i32 and an f32. Okay, so let's replace what we're doing here. We don't need to link with raylib or include raylib or anything. Nums. Then we want test Laye numeric conversions. Okay, so we do hit the same case here. I guess I can also try to make this a bit bigger for you guys. So let's get the debugger out then. We've verified it works in the simple case. We want to interesting. So let's do test numeric conversions. Have I really not updated this in that long? Laye numeric conversions dot Laye. And I could just do s init lvm hyphen to get roughly the same effect that we're doing here. And then here's our assertion at 1517. So back in Sema. Yeah. Back in Sema. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep, 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 yep. Here. Let's check what cases are happening here. So LHS type is type float. RHS type is type int. This is the case we want. They should both be numeric. So the convert to common type should. I'm just going to check the scores first. A score is -1. B score is 1. So it should do B to A, which is this one. So let's go rerun the conversion. Convert int will go into. Okay. L value to R value. So from is node type. From is still an int. Score is 0. Not an L value. Not references. Do L value to R value conversion. From should still be type int, but it's not an L value. It's an R value. Okay. All of this is still good. Then they're not the same. They're not a pointer to a reference. It's not a pointer to a pointer. You get the size. The size should be 32, and it should be 32 in both cases. It's not going to evaluate. If it's an int to an int, it's not. If it's an int to a float, it returns 1 plus score. So I figured out the problem in doing the thing here. We didn't do the implicit cast, which should have been obvious, but it was not. We just need to do that. So then, okay. So then if I ball, it couldn't link with Raylan. Why couldn't it link with Raylan? This is not how I've done it in the past. This has to be how I've done it. Compiler, not C. So whenever we hit something that starts with L, we add it to the list of linked libraries. And then that just gets put in the linker thing, which I can. Yeah, we do a lot with link libraries here. So, and then here we add L the thing. And the command. Okay. I don't know what I want. I want this. That's what I want. I want this gone. Way the hell down here. I don't need nums. I don't need out. I haven't generated ball. It doesn't keep anything that we need. So I'm confused. I'm confused. This has worked in the past. Do I not have Raylib installed? Do I need to go and like Raylib test? Include Raylib.8, which is in my path. And just, I don't know. Then cling ray test null Raylib ray test. It's in my path. I can link against it. So something is clearly wrong when I'm actually taking in linker things. I mean, you should just be able to do sudo update db and then locate raylib to find it. Yeah, I'm. Well, I guess not, but clearly it does work. Up to date. Run. Don't need the breakpoint here anymore. Run. Oh, because we're not outputting through claim. Okay. Back to launch. We're gonna ball and not do anything else here except for L I lib Laye raylib L raylib samples raylib sorting ball. And then it hits here. Okay, so all I want to do basically is what's in link libraries. Count is 0. There's my problem. There's no link libraries. That doesn't do anything. So why are there no link libraries? Oh, because this is args and this is state. So I'm just not. Where do I do args to state? So when we parse args, they go into state. That is what that is. There is no args to state. Compiler state is the args. So then when I state, what the heck? Right here, arg, lraylib, over, link libraries, raylib. Count is 6. Oh, count is 6 because it's just pointing to a string. That's right. It's not the count of the array. So then if I step out and over, state, link libraries, points to raylib. I don't know why. I mean, I guess I do, but I don't. So basically, at that point, I need to be using liar context link libraries because the state link libraries doesn't exist anymore. So wherever that was happening, here needs to not be state. It needs to be state. I mean, that's kind of annoying though. So we're compiling to see this backend stuff is going to get moved eventually into Layer itself, probably not the actual compiler driver. So I won't have this issue when that happens. But for the time being, I think I need to do this. Well, I guess not. Oh, this is in back in LLVM. Done. So, link libraries. Link libraries. What the heck? Hold on. Knob it. There we go. There's the ball. Okay, we're back in business. We're back to compiling toting ball. I don't know why we can't find raylib, but it exists in my install path thing. We have toting ball. Window is closed successfully. Nice. Knob test one more time. Make sure nothing else is broken. Executions pass and C-test pass. Great. Okay, so then let me quickly go to GitHub without doing naughty things. I think we're going to finally merge this into main. Able to merge. Yeah. Cool. So let's cd back, or not cd, git back out main and git hug. Okay. So let's delete this branch on the remote. Let's go manage our branches because we still have 21CABI and refactor. I don't know what's in 21CABI. I'm pretty sure it's been merged already. 3 commits ahead of. It's ahead. Oh no. 3 commits ahead of. What have we done? Why is this not? I mean, clearly we've done ABI stuff on this branch. All right, let's go compare. Hold on. Do I have roadmap? Roadmap has all of those text, all of that text. Then we need abi.c, which exists. abi.c has this, it has all this, it has all of that. It's like, how many lines of code for the whole file? Figure that out. ABI, like 300 lines, and it ends with transform call sites. This is almost exactly the same file, it looks like. Okay, so I don't think I need the CABI branch here. I think I can delete that branch. And refactor is all kinds of different now. So view all branches, refactor and CABI are dead to me. Go back to main. We should only have the one main branch now. So then let's also do that maintenance over here, git branch. How do you delete a branch? Is it R for remove? Is it D for del? Git branch. Go down. MCD deleted D. Git branch B21C ABI. git branch the project refactor is not fully merged. Okay, fuck you. That's what git branch the refactor. Just big D, all of them. In progress, right? Okay. Cool. Perfect. Running it twice causes numeric conversions to fail. That's good. Because we didn't actually update the test for numeric conversions, so it, I guess, updated its cache. So we can out Laye s init liar standard output test Laye numeric conversions. What the heck? Okay, well, at least that doesn't break actual code execution, but so we have to go to, where the hell was that at? IRC, liar IRC. And we need to go to 2109. We didn't print SI to FP. Probably put it right in here then. And I mean, probably here. Let me double check. I don't have other conversions somewhere else for some reason. Okay, I don't. So SI to FP is a keyword. Then we want to print the type that we're converting to. Then we want to append color, and we want to print the value, the operand, with the type. Okay, that should work. Okay, so then we have SI to FP float 32 and 32 of 3. Okay, so then I can copy this to numeric conversions. And test. Cool. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We are now, for the most part, back where I want to be. We can now start making forward progress on the compiler. Woo! Mugame, if you are here or watching later, it is time. It is time, Mugame. Go ping him. Mugame. Mugame. Now he'll know. Okay. So I have a list of things to do in my head somewhere that I probably haven't written down. So I think we need to do that whole writing it down and figure out what to tackle next. I want to get Sicily underway at some point soon because of Game Foo, but I can't really get the back end for Game Foo done until I've decided what the fucking CPU architecture is. That'll be something I want to stream eventually as well. Is figuring out what the hell to actually define as the CPU architecture. And started reworking my compiler as well, but between working on Clang and also doing the stuff on microserver. Yeah, time is a problem. I haven't done Laye work in actual full anything for weeks for unrelated but similar reasons. Part of that brain focus on game foo for some reason, part of that work more difficult, and I'm tired playing more games, talking to my friends more, going on more adventures, but like I'm hoping to get more Laye stuff done soon. Very soon, very soon. I need to figure out how to design more physically accurate CPU for game foo, which might be a stream, like I said. When we do, we'll then have a target that we can compile Laye in C to, and I want to get Sicily up to the point where I can start reading. Like I don't have to do it for GFU-ASM. GFU-ASM I don't have to compile with Sicily. GFU-SX I don't have to compile with Sicily. LCA I don't have to compile with Sicily. libc I will. These libc sources are going to be game foo source, so I will have to like support compiling this, and it's a thing. So libc I'll have to compile. liblaye will have to, like, I mean, it's going to be Laye. We're going to be parsing Laye anyway. Eventually, when I get to a standard Laye library, game foo that'll be there, and the SDK and the BIOS. Where did the BIOS is up here? So whatever I end up putting in BIOS, whatever I end up putting in SDK, and whatever I end up putting in libc, all need to be compilable to game foo architecture by Sicily and or Laye. Then I also need to finish GFU-ASM because the assembler is going to be the target. Each of those things will target GFU-ASM. So you can write your own assembler, or you can use the Laye compiler toolchain, Laye and Sicily, to compile to GFU-ASM. And then the GFU assembler will give you all of your, so like that's the workflow we're going for here. There's a whole lot of moving parts. We're going to go back and forth between those two projects. So no game foo right now, but just throwing that out there that's something to look forward to eventually. So if anybody knows how to is more experienced in various forms of assembly or micro architecture, I guess not a micro architecture, what am I thinking of, just embedded stuff in general, how I might want to design the fantasy CPU to be roughly equivalent to a real CPU without feeling like, you know, too hardcore. I don't want to just like, okay, here's an x86 64 CPU. I want a simplified version of a real CPU. That feels like it could have existed maybe in the 90s, right? That's, anyway, we'll get there when we get there. So I think before I go get lunch, we need to figure out where to, we have the roadmap here. So this is like roadmap for the things to do eventually. This is not like to-do list for the language itself. Maybe I just make a to-do thing in the docs here, or I put to-do outside of docs and we do to-do here, like to-do a doc. To-do. Let's see. I'm actually curious then. How do, oh. ASCII doc checkbox. Can I do a checkbox with ASCII doc checklists? Am I doing it correctly? It's star. All right. ASCII doc like star instead of hyphen. And for shits and giggles, let's preview. This is what we're looking at. So checked, also checked, not checked. Normal list item. So is that a checkbox yet? It is. Okay. And if I do this, it's checked. Woo! Okay. Thank you, Google. Very cool. So things we want to do are constructor syntax. Before doing constructor syntax, I think I want compound expressions should use do. I can like sublist. This will make constructor syntax much nicer when we get to inference. Do starts an expression. This is a constructor with an inferred type. I think we had part of this conversation a few weeks ago in the Discord. Also, I have to do it like this, don't I? To make it a sub-expression there. If I do this, does it indent? No, it's not white space. So I do this. How do I just force it to indent? If I do this, it will go to the next line, maybe? Right, but then that ruins this. And if I do this, that's not going to do anything. Yeah, that just turns it to code. I don't remember how to... How do I... Okay, hold on. ASCII doc, come back. Let's go figure out what the hell is happening. Discrete heading paragraph lists. Complex list items. Plus, that might be one thing we want. Okay, let's try plus. So if I do plus, that puts it in line. But it's weird that it's the it's not indented up to where the checkbox is. That's what's throwing me off. Right, if I don't plus, then it goes farther back, which I guess is expected, but okay, that's fine then. Constructor syntax. We need support foo r equals baz is yeah, whatever, like that. Where foo can be any like I don't know what it is, but what is it called in Raylib actually? Raylib dot Laye. Is it a vector 2? Probably a vector 2. Like Raylib vector 2 or or I don't know what I use the term, what term I'm using for inferred paths. Partial. Packet. Then let's compound expressions. What do we need? Operator overloads are on the list for eventually. They'll be done. Operator overload. This will be a big checkbox. This includes, I guess, the following. If I try to nest checkboxes and get this to work, operator overload declaration syntax. Okay, so you can't have a nested checkbox. Can I do it like this? Okay, you can't. If I do a plus, does that technically work? Okay. So this includes the following, which I guess I don't even need to do. Can I just do this? Because it includes the following if it's implicitly nested. Boom. Have you tried the Zig C and C++ compiler? A little bit, not as much as I would like. Zig C and C++ compiler, if we're talking like embedding Clang within Zig, then I've tried that version. I know they're eventually trying to get rid of LLVM as a whole, so if you're referring to like that development process, no, I haven't done that. It's not Markdown, it's ASCII-Doc. I'm trying to learn ASCII-Doc. I like it a lot more than Markdown, more standard. I mean, there's still extensions to it, but they're like explicitly opt-in with features and stuff. And the default built-in stuff is just very exhaustive. GitHub doesn't fully support it, which kind of defeats the purpose of using it on GitHub, but I can very easily use ASCII-Doc for generating like web pages as well, which is what I'm more inclined to do it with. I was toying around with updating the compiler book formatting, actually. Like, I think we can go look at that. Hold on. Let me make a new thing. I don't remember where compiler book is at. It could be all in I don't think it's all in Hibiku. There's compiler books. Oh, it's in nashigore.com. Okay, so I have drastically simplified, removed all of my like static site generator stuff, and just started experimenting writing the book in raw ASCII-Doc, which works pretty well, actually. What are they trying to get rid of? God, I wish I could read the whole comment. Little heart in the way. That didn't work. Copy paste. Yeah, okay. I mean, they're just writing their own backend they want to do. Right, so what I was saying is a compiler book here has I think main is the main thing here, so I'm using all of ASCII-Doc's features here to do various kinds of formatting for whatever, include the documents in the standard way. Treat it like a book. I think the makefile here shows what we're doing for ASCII-Doc. ASCII-Doctor outputs to public HTML here. So if I go, I may have even pushed this to nashigore.com. Go see nashigore.com. Tyler book? Question mark? That HTML? Yeah, so this is actually live right now, so I wanted to try it and stuff. So this is less perfectly stylized, you know, not my fancy pink colors that I liked and spent a lot of time on, not my fancy navigation on the left that I spent a lot of time on, but it's a hell of a lot quicker to iterate on without having to worry about my static site generation for now. So I think version 1, first draft of the book, will turn into, or will be written basically in just the raw ASCII-Doc here. I've only done a little bit of rework on the introduction. I haven't transferred a bunch of anything else over here, but I'm like, you know. So I'm trying to learn ASCII-Doc for that purpose, and just to get away from weird Markdown inconsistencies. ASCII-Doc, very cool. I mean, we can go look at Zig remove LLVM and see if it should be this issue here. Right, so they're still very in progress of removing LLVM, Clang, and LLD libraries from the Zig project. They'll probably still end up, I assume the clarification of libraries here means they might still rely on you having a system compiler available for some things, but they just don't want the Zig code base to statically depend on this. That's my understanding, high level. So they've re-implemented a C backend, I guess, so that they don't have to compile to LLVM. They compile to C, which is one reason they would still need to depend on Clang as a compiler there, but they're working on. Oh yeah, so they removed the LLVM library, which means they're outputting bitcode rather than IR Builder API, which is similar to what we're doing in Laye, where we're outputting LLVM IR as text, and then just depending on Clang to be installed on your system to compile it. So they're still going to support LLVM, just not through the LLVM libraries. C backend, relatively straightforward, makes sense. x86 and WASM, also pretty straightforward and makes sense. They're getting pretty close to done, it looks like. So you can just write raw object files, I guess, or at least the assembler. I assume this isn't like the object file backend, but it might be. We'll have to see. Et cetera, et cetera. They just want to not rely on LLVM for their backends as a library and just leave it as one option you can invoke LLVM for. It sounds like the same thing for Clang, where they want, I don't know exactly what this refers to, but solve the Clang package that can be depended on via the build system. Yeah. Solve an independent package that serves the exact same use case. Yeah. So they just want to remove this stuff from the raw main Zig compiler and put it somewhere else. Maybe this implies that they've backtracked on fully removing LLVM, which I think might have been a thing they were talking about. But there'll be LLVM backend for outputting PC files, yet but the Zig compiler would lack the capability to compile PC files to objects. LLVM or Clang would need to be installed and invoked separately for that use case. Yep. Zig gains these benefits. All our bugs are belong to us. The compiler becomes trivial to build from source. This is what I was trying to do myself. I was trying to get an updated version of Zig on my machine, and building LLVM failed. And I couldn't figure out how to fix it. So I just couldn't have the latest version of Zig on my machine because Fedora 39 is like 2 versions behind. Fedora 40 should have Zig 0.11, I think, which is the version I was trying to build, but I haven't switched to 40 yet because I either it just came out or it hasn't come out yet, and I'm not going to bother for a little bit. Makes the compiler smaller, which is fantastic. Lots of reasons to remove statically relying on LLVM, basically. They want to try to be their own optimizing compiler forward movement thing as well, which we'll see how that goes. All more power to them. They're a much smaller team than LLVM, but if they can manage to do stuff, hey, why not? And they want to get direct contributions from Intel and stuff, because if Zig gets popular and they're not relying on LLVM, then there's more of an incentive to improve the Zig compiler itself. Anyway, so very big, high, lofty goals for Zig. Goals that I cannot achieve as a little tiny dude with nobody using my language, so we're not going to bother for a long, long time, if we bother at all, ever. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, so operator overloads need the declaration syntax. Now, does this do what I think it does? It should. So I want to say, this is where I really should have written down all of the things that we've talked about previously. The internal. So now I have to like rewrite all of my assumptions about operator declaration syntax. So that's just for the time being, say something as simple as, I don't know, vec to operator plus, you know what, let's get the whole thing here. Vec of tn. Well, you wouldn't do this. You would do vec tn of operator plus ti32n. And then you'd have a vec tn LHS and a vec tn RHS. So, as a complicated example, this would be a generic operator plus for a hypothetical vector type. Boom. I'll have to put more discussion in here on what's actually going to happen for operator overloads, probably, but that's like declaration syntax. We're going to want to have operator plus function semantically equivalent to an identifier for the purposes of calling it like any other function. So we need operator plus of like F32 to B, or like B0 if you want. Make it more obvious what's going on. Notably, and Eternal, you might love this conversation to try to get me to do. Actually, no, we're doing overloading. Never mind. I forgot that we're totally supporting overloading. It's not technically supported now, so I should add that here. That's probably what I was thinking, is we don't currently support overloading, but overload resolution. I think I'm okay with supporting overloads, given that I have operator overloading. For a while, I was like, I don't want overloads, period. But since I've got namespacing, I'm going to have name conflicts anyway, so I may as well go all the way to overload resolution. Which then gives us exactly the same semantics for operator overload, where v0 plus v1 is literally just sugar for this, and they call the exact same code as function overloading. This implies that the former, that v0 plus v1 is semantically example, and would use the same overload resolution. So that's declaration syntax for operator overloads, which we need to separately discuss. Non-binary operators. So this means add syntax for new and delete I think my brain doesn't want there to be periods at the end of any of these, just the descriptions, which is strange. Okay, add syntax for new and delete. New true is a variant of the constructor syntax, which calls operator new for that type. Okay. Selecting the proper implementation, proper overload. I don't know how I'm going to describe this in the to-do list here, but I'll probably have to go back to our conversations and make sure that I'm completely up to date on what's going on here. Basically, operator new is going to be complicated, guys. Operator delete should be similar to operator new, so once we get new, delete will be fine. Let's instead, I don't want to type all this right now. To do describe selecting proper overload. And I'll go add more things for operator overloads as we get there. So what other features does Laye need? Proper floating point support. So this is going to be parse floats. Probably other things. I'm thinking we also had an issue with prefix operators, but I'm not sure what the problem is yet. So ensure proper intuitive handling of prefix operators, especially on numeric literals. I'm going to keep that separate from floats because I think it might have an effect on ints as well. I just forget if it's handled properly. So there's that. There's eventually when Sicily is implemented support import foo.h. So let's actually say support import foo.h. This requires Sicily not to be further along development. Okay, we said that. Compound expressions, constructor syntax, this, that, these. I'll have to go back through all of my conversations in Discord and figure out what other things I promised happening soon and get them added to this list probably. But those are the big ones that are on the top of my mind that we'll get to eventually. The biggest one I want to do personally is constructor syntax, which implies quickly updating compound expression syntax as a prerequisite to not have to handle edge cases in the parser early. They will just, straight up figure it out. I don't know that I'll do that right now. It is food time. I think I am at the hunger point to go get food. I have been DM'd. Boom. Boom. Oh, you know what? I have this to-do list here. I don't know why I'm doing this to-do list. Because I'm stupid, probably. Because what we did is I added issues for all of these. So I have done the discussion. For example, floats. Woo, there's some float stuff. I don't have details on them. Function types, that's another one. Enums, we need enums. Globals, we need global variables. Pointer and buffer comparison, I mentioned this when we were looking at the greater than operator. It's just immediately doing dereferencing, which it shouldn't do if both are pointers or buffers, rather. Float literals is right there. Operators for wrapping, saturating, whatever. Removing differences between signed and unsigned integer types. This is going to be a big one that might happen soon, actually. So I don't get too down the rabbit hole. There's new and delete operators here, which actually has great stuff. Simpler operator overloads is the other stuff I mentioned. There's a food, tea, and whatnot. There's discussion here. Nillable types, that's a big one. Nillable's going to be huge. It's going to sound very simple, and in principle it is, but the actual semantic support for nillable types is going to be a pain. That'll come with the nil literal. Namespaced types, I don't think is technically supported yet, which we'll need for complicated constructors. Lots of CLI stuff to handle for knob and the compiler. Okay, so I have probably a couple of things in here that I could use to update what I've written there, specifically on compound literal. So I'll keep this list and then just delete it. We won't have a to-do. We'll worry specifically just about updating the issues again. So I'm going to go get lunch, and depending on how I feel after lunch, maybe we tackle... Thanks for stopping by. You can join the Discord in the description to see all the stuff I'm working on off-stream, which is a lot. I don't stream as often as I want. I want to start doing videos again. I just haven't had the time to do that. My GitHub is also linked if you want to follow along with any of my changes. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good day.